The following show is for entertainment purposes only and does not necessarily reflect the opinions of Empire Media LLC, its subsidiaries, affiliates, sponsors, and advertisers.
I thoroughly enjoy our entrance music. I like that beat.
What is it? It's the main event beat on GarageBand?
Yeah. Don't give away our secrets, man.
Dude, it's like public domain.
I don't care. It's our secret. Welcome everybody.
Anybody with GarageBand can find out quite easily.
Yeah, probably. But
Like what's the app?
I don't want to make anything easier for anyone out there though. Welcome, though, everybody, to the Majors Live episode. What are we at? 284?
That's like a lot of episodes.
Wait, 284 here on TMSNX Radio, themajors.net. I'm Adam Hernandez. There's Dorf. Shawn, like I said, is on mission in Utah.
He's not on mission in Utah.
Okay,
he's in Utah.
He's getting other wives in Utah. What are we supposed to say
now
here?
You're accusing him of human trafficking.
No, he's a fundamentalist Mormon now, right? I thought that's what we.
No,
I thought that's what he said.
I'm trying to help us not get sued here, dude.
By
Stop.
Shawn.
Yes.
Shawn's not going to sue us.
Shawn, please don't sue us.
Sue us for what? For telling the truth?
This is the spoken word, so it would be libel.
Oh. How is it what? Are you saying it's wrong to be Mormon? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying
is that what you're saying?
Potentially
is that what you're
I'm
saying?
not saying that. It's potentially could be deemed derogatory to his reputation.
Okay, Shawn really isn't in Utah on a mission. He's not really converting to Mormonism, and he's not involved in any polygamy. Is that better?
Yes, but he is in Utah.
He is in Utah doing something
for work.
Maybe.
Allegedly.
He could just be on vacation. I heard Utah is a very, very nice place.
The pictures you've posted are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, they're very nice. How he has all of his wives. I mean, I'm sorry.
God damn. Man.
Sorry, I didn't mean. Hey, that's what he gets for not being here. When you're not here, you get ragged on. And yes, like I said, Shawn.
Is this what you guys do when I'm not here?
Yes.
Actually, you usually don't have the show when I'm not here.
Yes. We just rag on you anyway, but
right to my face though. You just don't.
Yes, like I said, Shawn's not converting to Mormonism. He's not involved in polygamy.
I'm sorry, that sarcastic tone of voice doesn't make me think you're genuine.
He's just in Utah. That's it. Sorry, Shawn. Anyways, welcome everybody. Like I said, to the latest edition of the Majors Live here on TMSNX Radio. Tonight on tonight's show, we're going to be talking about
some more fake news.
What fake news is that?
I don't know that Shawn's becoming a Mormon. That's fake news. We're going to be talking about making sports fun again.
Yes, by allowing drugs to be prevalent within the game itself. That's what we're going to be talking about. No, we're going to be getting to a little bit about basically drug suspensions. Are they getting a little overboard? I want to go over this. What is it? Toradol?
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Deadspin ran this article a couple of weeks ago about the state of Toradol within the NFL and basically some of the double standards that exist within sports when it comes to something like Toradol and then the over-the-counter muscle and fat enhancer, well, not fat enhancer, but a lean muscle enhancer and fat reducer that Joakim Noah got popped for in the NBA. What else do we have tonight? We're going to look into our crystal ball with the Final Four and the that it's turned into.
I wouldn't say that.
The Final Four?
Yeah.
You're excited about the Final Four?
No.
You're excited about these?
But the games leading up to it have not been snoozers.
No. The games leading up have been great. That Kentucky North Carolina game yesterday.
I mean, South Carolina's come back over Duke.
Yes, they're great.
Watching Kansas choke again.
But the intrigue surrounding these four Final Four teams.
Got a couple teams that have never been there before. Gonzaga's actually made it for
Fuck
once.
Gonzaga. I'll be getting to that here in a little bit.
Gonzaga.
Stupid shit of the week revolving around the Oakland Raiders and their move to Sin City.
Vegas.
And we'll finish out the show with a little bit of news. Like I said, I want to start off the show with this Toradol thing, and basically just drugs in sports, performance enhancing drugs, over the counter drugs, whatever it is you want to call them. But like I said, Toradol, Deadspin, talked about this at length a couple of weeks ago.
I do have the article up.
Do you have the article?
If you want any quotes from it, it's available.
But Toradol, Dorf is just it's basically isn't it like a step? Is it a step below morphine? Is that basically what it is here?
Not really.
Okay, well,
it's an injectable local anti-inflammatory, very powerful anti-inflammatory.
Okay, it's ibuprofen on steroids.
Injectable ibuprofen on steroids.
Okay, yes, that's what it is.
Uh-huh.
And it sounds like it's basically gotten to the point now in the NFL where players can't play unless they are on Toradol, and I'm talking every single game.
Yep.
Before every single game, they're injecting themselves with this highly, I don't want to call it addictive, but this drug that
is the one thing about it. It isn't. It's injectable. It is not an addictive substance. However, doesn't mean it's good for you either.
Well, players like Fred Smoot said it's like popping aspirin. Nate Jackson calls it routine to stay on the field. Chris Kimiwatu has a failing kidney and doesn't know if that was a result of it. Just
a chance.
Just the Toradol usage or overusage, and he wants to know whether or not the Steelers knew about this. The Players Tribune acknowledged that the NFL cannot live without Toradol, and basically the NFL is allowing this stuff to basically take place. They're allowing the players to inject themselves with this and become reliant on this drug to continue playing each and every week without knowing the ramifications from its overusage. Now, you have some of the makers of this. And let me get the guy's name because I had it here a second ago. Robert Greenhouse helped create this. And the first time he saw it used potentially in the incorrect manner was with R.A. Dickey, and he used it for a foot injury. Now, he went out and said, and I believe this is a quote, he said guys should be jailed because of the
amount that they've used it.
Exactly.
Not players, but the amount of times medical staff have used it on players.
Yes. Now, again, the big danger in all of this, Dorf, is the NFL really doesn't know the side effects to overusage with this, because we know the side effects with overusage of ibuprofen.
Your stomach and kidneys essentially start bleeding. Toradol, until recently, was recommended at maximum use 5 times per year. If you look at the data provided in the Deadspin article, collected by a survey of NFL medical teams, 27 of 32 teams responded. The average team was prescribing like 5,600 doses per year. Or per game, that's 26.7 guys needed injectable anti-inflammatories per game. More than half of your active roster requires Toradol to play, or there's other equivalents too. But an injectable anti-inflammatory, more than half of your active roster requires that just to be able to play.
Yep. Former player Troy Sadowski says, actually, I don't know is he a former player? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay. He said that they would have syringes lined up with players' numbers prior to games on these tables of this drug. The Steelers medical staff, according to that article, prescribed 7,442 doses.
Which was not a league high.
No. This wasn't.
I've got it here.
I think it was 10th. This put them 10th in the league. 10th in the league as far as that amount of dosages go. Let's see. Anything else here?
Which is also, so that's 10th in the of injectable anti-inflammatories and 14th overall in controlled substances prescribed by NFL team physicians. So they're middle of the pack in both those regards. So believe it or not, half the league is worse than that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And Dorf, I guess the thing is with all of this, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add from that article, but
I've had Toradol one time. It
yeah,
was also
tell us about
it. Was
it. Tell
actually
us
for a
about
foot
it.
injury.
Tell us about it. Because it's okay, the same thing that R.A. Dickey took it for. Foot injury. Go ahead.
Similar. Mine was a stress fracture in my foot as a result of essentially getting
R.A. Dickey's old, so go ahead.
um
That's why he probably took it.
I took it as a result of a stress fracture in my foot from just getting stomped in a pile in spring practice for football the 1 year I played in college. Because it was one of those that it hurt, but it wasn't bad enough that I needed to stop playing, and it wasn't going to cause any damage by continuing to go. So like, hey, do you want something to make that not hurt as much anymore? I'm like, absolutely, please. Oh my God, right now. Foot was numb for 5.5, 6 days. I couldn't feel a damn thing. It was great. It was great, but at the same time, it was a one-time thing.
Was it a little scary though? Did it
At the time I really didn't think about it. And that's part of the reason I think guys.
You're a guy that popped ass or Tylenol.
Tylenol, ibuprofen alternating every 6 hours, like daily. Which is also not good for you.
Did you see any side effects from that constant?
No.
And of course,
thankfully for me, it was essentially for 1 calendar year that this occurred.
And everybody's different too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I'll tell you what, I have a very increased tolerance to those two. Like I have to take a ridiculous amount for them to work at all.
So if you go to the store and you get some ibuprofen, whether it's Advil or Motrin or whatever,
yeah.
How many of those little capsules do you have to take?
For anything to happen to me,
because I usually take 3.
Okay, so for reference, I'm like another third as big as you, so I'm 300 pounds. So although I'm told it really doesn't matter by weight, which is I think bullshit, but I take 4 to 5 for minor things, 6 for 1,200 milligrams of ibuprofen for.
Wait, how many again?
1,200 milligrams.
How many little capsules?
6.
You take 6
they're
of
200 apiece.
Wow.
Tylenol is a lot less for me. I can just take the 2, which is what you're supposed to as an adult. But you're also not supposed to use it for more than 3 consecutive days or like 6 and 10 without advice of a doctor.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And that was like Pez every 6 freaking hours. So it was essentially 2 doses of each a day.
But that's, I mean, again, ibuprofen isn't Toradol.
No.
Toradol is much, much stronger. And I want to know why. Well, there's a couple of questions I have with this. Actually, a few. How does the NFL continue to get away with something like this? How hasn't the FDA stepped in and said, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm going to do some visuals for those who are watching on Facebook Live. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing to see here. It's only a problem because people are finally growing the spine to say, guys, this isn't right. Toradol currently, according to, I forget, the source is listed, but it's essentially a general guidelines approved by the FDA. You're supposed to use it twice a year, at most, twice.
And again, this is a drug.
And you're also not supposed to use any sort of Aleve or aspirin or anything like that more than 10 days straight.
Yeah, and this is a drug that they use again for usually hospitals use it for surgery.
What the actual use it was developed for was essentially like immediate post-op. Like you just had your gut sliced open, and coming out of the anesthesia. Oh my God, you want to die because you've been ripped in half. That's what it's for. Not keeping the equivalent of racehorses upright, and so they can play the game. This is how you see those
for 16 weeks out of the season.
16 weeks out of the year.
And they want to increase it.
This is why you see guys being able to play with torn muscles, broken bones, things like that. It's because they can't fucking feel it. They're popping probably prescription grade opiates and taking Toradol on game day.
So is this the NFL then tapping into just is it simply just nobody knows enough about this for the FDA to really
Ignorance
get
is bliss, man.
to really get involved with it just yet?
Because a lot of the reason the players are okay with it, it's out of fear that if I don't play,
I'm not gonna have a
I
job.
am not going to have a job. And if I develop a reputation of being either a bitch or injury prone, I'm not going to have a contract next year.
Okay.
So I am doing this for my livelihood. And I understand, fear is a very powerful motivator. I understand that. It's a very powerful reason. And that's a lot of the reason you see guys do roids, despite their long-term negative side effects of turning into the roid rage monster.
Well, what's the difference between using something like this and taking HGH? Because Andy Pettit took HGH to help recover from a shoulder injury, and he was named in the Mitchell report. And
One is just what HGH does compared to Toradol. HGH helps you rebuild tissue faster. This helps. This is all this does is numb pain.
Okay, but
there's a difference at that level. But I see your point.
Yeah, the point
what from a competitive standpoint, what is the difference?
The point is, it keeps you on the field. It keeps you on the field.
Or gets you back on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the difference from that standpoint? I see a technical standpoint there, Dorf, and you're right. But from the standpoint of just getting back out into the field, there's no difference between HGH and Toradol. And HGH has already been
banned forever.
It's
never been legal.
Nope, it's taboo in sports. Talk of HGH in sports.
This whole idea as well that, especially in baseball, I know we're going to pivot to baseball here for a second, that guys have not been taking artificial substances to get an edge. You look back to pre-World War I, those guys were all chewing amphetamines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were less precise than current methods. Pharmacology wasn't what it was then as it is now. So yeah, things are more precise, more potent, more easily accessible. But this idea that guys haven't been taking non-natural substances for an edge forever is just naive and stupid. Finally things have got powerful and potent enough. Amphetamines know what they'll do. As you can see, there was a guy who pitched in the Baltimore Orioles organization like 10 years ago. He was on amphetamines. He died playing the game. He had a heart attack at like 27.
Which usually doesn't happen to 27-year-olds. But
20 healthy, athletic 27-year-olds do not get heart attacks. Unless, of course, they're absolutely blitzed on amphetamines.
I have a feeling that we're going to be learning the extent of Toradol because apparently it's been prevalent in the league for at least 15 years.
They call it T-Train or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Toradol is something you're not supposed to use more than 2 days in a row. And like 5 times a year.
And I'm sorry, Dorf. I want to pivot a little bit to Joakim Noah, his 20-game suspension. I know we're talking about basketball and football, but professional sports in general here. You have players.
Before we move on from that, and the other thing to consider.
Well, I'm gonna go back to it here. I'm gonna add the Joakim Noah. But go ahead.
The one thing before we move on from this, with like all drugs, because Toradol was not designed to be used more than like just in surgery post-op, there's never been a long-term health effects study done on it. It doesn't need it to because the medical community they don't ever plan on using it for that.
Yes.
So there's never been a long-term study.
Yeah.
Guys, kidneys are failing, and you know what? Yeah, it's just correlation. You can't prove causation in the case like Chris came on to. You can't.
Nope.
But you know what? There's a decent amount of smoke there. There's a good chance there's some fire.
You can pull back because you said it. You're looking at the amount this is taken, and the league doesn't care. The league doesn't care, and I'll tell you why they don't care. Because they're allowing these high dosages to continue to happen. And look, you could connect the dots with this. You can know that too much of this drug is going to be a bad thing. And then they're talking about adding more weeks into the season. So what does that mean? They're going to be injecting themselves with more Toradol. It's only logical, right? More weeks, more dosages to keep these guys out on the field. And then you look at a guy like Joakim Noah. Again, like I said, different sport,
Different set of circumstances.
different set of circumstances, but he gets popped for 20 games for taking an over-the-counter supplement that helps enhance lean muscle and reduce fat. He got popped for that. 20-game suspension. Yet you still have guys in the NFL going and popping this shit every single weekend. Nothing happens to them. And the NFL could give two shits about it. And is there
killing these guys?
Is there a double standard in professional sports here?
You know what? You can't say definitively that it's killing these guys, but it's sending their players, their athletes, likely to an early grave. This is before you even consider the long-term impacts of head injury, or the long-term impacts on, like, Peyton Manning is going to be miserable for the rest of his life because his feet are shot. That's even before you consider his neck.
Feet are shot. Yep, neck is shot.
All that for
I want to know the range.
The best product on the field for you, the fan.
Yep, I got to
And
imagine
ultimately to make the most money for the owners.
Yeah, I have to imagine Peyton Manning's range of motion in his neck is just awful.
Non-existent.
Yeah. But again, the theme of tonight's show for these, especially these first two, is Dorf. Ultimately, I do think that sports takes their drug suspensions too far, and you and I
am on the record. The reason you first brought me in for a podcast is I started writing for you. This was like 5 years ago now?
Something like that, yeah.
I wrote this big long piece that's saying, you know what? Steroids were the best thing that ever happened to baseball, because that was when baseball was at its peak fun. And you know what? They're entertainers. I want them to dance for me, and that's all I want from them.
And you know what, Dorf?
And if they want to take it, they're an informed adult. They are making their own decision. They are living with they are the only one that have to live with the consequences, and that is their choice. So be it. If they don't want to, they can do it clean.
You know what, Dorf? I am perfectly okay with that. The only thing that would bother me is if they abuse it, and I wouldn't want them abusing. Look, I'm somebody that thinks that drugs should be illegal in the United States, but when it comes to sports, I think it should be monitored. And I think in some ways it should be restricted. I'm with you. I think that steroids should be in baseball. I think steroids should be in sports.
Yeah.
But I don't think these guys should be able to go out and take however much of it they want, because I think that there's a moral aspect that sports leagues can inflict onto these players, so they're not bringing themselves into an early grave. And I think it's okay from a sports level, because sports organizations are a private entity. I think that that's something that they can get away with.
The only wrinkle we have in this is employment law, because it's still technically a job, unless, of course, there's a specific exemption for sports.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do harmful shit to your employees. You just can't.
Yes.
And that should be that way, and thankfully it is in the United States.
But I think minimal dosages of HGH, performance enhancing drugs. I don't think that's going to...
When you start messing with hormones, you're tempting the cancer fate. Cancer's not something like, it's not like, well, you're probably going to lose your hair 10 years earlier than you would.
But you're tempting the cancer fate.
You're already at like what, a 21-22% chance of getting cancer in your lifetime to begin with.
You're tempting that same fate though when you're chewing though on the field.
Yeah.
Which they still allow to some extent in baseball.
Not anymore.
Older players are.
Are they exempt from the rule?
I think they're grandfathered in. Well, no, new players. I think that was the rule. I think rookies coming into the league aren't allowed to chew, which it's such a weird.
You'd never get it past the players union without it.
Unnecessary rule in baseball.
Yeah, it's
stupid. But
nanny state, man.
I think we have a double standard here, Dorf. And you know what? The big question here is, like I said, I think Joakim Noah's suspension is bullshit. I don't like it. I think that it shows a huge double standard in sports, because I mean, it's if these players were on HGH, if they were taking steroids, it was something that they would get, suspended for. They would get suspended for it.
And
We
in the case of like in the MLB, in the NFL, like you get caught twice, you're gone forever.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff too is you're getting popped for over the counter stuff and stuff that isn't even clear to a lot of these guys. Now, should they be taking the responsibility to really be looking into it? Yeah, maybe. But when you have such an extensive list of things you can't do and can't take, look, these guys have a lot of other stuff to worry about in their daily regiment.
Yeah.
And I'm not positive that they're going to be able to keep up on all of this. Can you get rid of the stuff that really doesn't make that whole lot of difference whether or not they take it or not? It just seems like it's overblown. Now, as far as that Toradol stuff,
Yeah.
Dorf, I want to know from you: can football survive without the drug?
Not with the current roster size.
So they have to
Okay.
expand the roster then?
Shorten the season, expand the roster. It's the only way you're gonna be able to do it.
Are you for that? As a football fan, are you for that?
It does not to do that. Does not fundamentally alter the game. No, you're gonna need college size rosters. You know what? What 44 active on game day? I'm sorry, when you think about it, that's too deep at everywhere, not including your specialists. That's not enough guys. When you think about it, part of the reason that guys get hurt is because they're playing exhausted. You don't see a lot of those injuries at the college level, A, because the game is slower, but B, you got guys, they have chances to take a fucking break. You don't have guys that are starting playing, significant amounts of snaps out there on special teams. You just don't. They get a chance to take a second, catch their breath. They're not playing exhausted because their season's longer. In order to do that, you're going to have to A, shorten your season, B, expand your roster. I'm not saying you need to go 70 guys, but for fuck's sake, make 50, 52, 54 active on game day. I understand why the owners don't want to do it because then there's 10 more guys per team at $500,000. It's another $5 million. Minimum, $5 million per year. I understand it from a business perspective why you don't want to do it. But at the same time, what's going to be cheaper, $5 million a year or the wrongful death lawsuits?
I'm gonna go ahead and say the
$5
million a year for the bottom end of the
Well, and this is the argument why it's always thrown about. Why against expanding the baseball rosters. Oh, it's too expensive. It's another body we got to pay. Come on, it's gonna be the 26th man on the baseball roster, the last man on the football roster, making league minimum. You're not adding another $8 million player. You're adding another league minimum player.
Yes, exactly. But Dorf, I mean, you bring up a good point with the lawsuit. This has lawsuit written all over it.
Because now these guys are at least have enough balls and essentially a media that's willing to give them the microphone and say, "Hi, football abused me. Football is going to cause my involvement in football." Based on factors that I didn't know I was getting into, is going to cause me to die young. And you know what? It's too late for me, but it's not too late for those to come after me. Know what you're getting yourself into. And you know what? This is where very big conflicting parts of my personality play in there. Because you know what? It's really, really hard for me to say, you know what? You're an adult. If you are ill-informed about the decision you're making, that's no one's fault but your own. But at the same time, for the love of God, you can't hide all this information from these guys and expect them to be able to make an informed decision. An informed, rational decision. You know what? If you, as an adult, are willing to accept the consequences that you're going to be playing a game, you'll essentially have to work for 6 years of your life, but you'll die 15 years earlier. And if you are okay with that as an adult, to make that decision that you won't make it to your 65th birthday, but years 20 through 65 are going to be pretty all right.
You're going to make a lot of money.
You're going to make a lot of money really quick and then never have to work again. If you are okay with that decision,
Then so be it.
then so be it.
Yep.
If you don't like it, don't play. Slave away like a normal person for 40 years.
But the NFL and the sports league have to be upfront about it.
Upfront about that.
They have to take the responsibility to go out.
And it's not unrealistic or unreasonable for these players to demand that, you know what, I'm going to give that to you, and you're going to, when things start going downhill for me at age 55, you're going to have to take care of me.
Yeah.
You know what? I haven't played in your league for 25, 30 years. But you know what? The reason I am having these issues now will be as a result of what I did for you. You better fucking take care of me.
No, that's. I think that's totally fair. I think it's totally fair.
That's not an unrealistic expectation.
No, it's not.
Or unfair.
No, it's not. Especially with a league like the NFL that, as we said many, many times before, prints money.
Yeah.
It's just something that they could take care of without any second thought about it.
Or you know what? You may have to, in order for that fund to be established long term, players, you might have to give up a little bit of your salary now. That may be the counter offer from the owners. And you know what? You should be interested in doing that.
Sure. It'll benefit you later on in life.
Yep. You know what? You will only get paid. I'm never going to say that you have to not take the money now, but you should be able to be offered as a player, your league minimum contract now, and you get all the money up front, or we only give you this much of it now, but you get payouts forever, and so does your estate after you go for this amount of money paid out like that. And the NFL is essentially the liability holder for that, not the individual team. I think that's a reasonable thing to ask.
I don't disagree with you, Dorf.
The only problem is this fucking short-sighted fucks at the NFLPA won't ask for that.
All right, Dorf. Let's see. Bitches and badasses. Who's your badass this week?
My badass this week. I'm going to go, you know what, Adam Jones. Despite my dislike for the WBC, dude had a hell of a WBC. A couple great catches, a bunch of clutch hits, a couple game winners. Then he's going to make him my badass of the week. All
right, my badass of the week is the University of Michigan. I know they're not in the tournament any longer. They ended up losing to Oregon in the Sweet 16. But the run that they had in their postseason through the Big Ten and into March Madness, after going through a plane crash, which is what it was. It was a plane crash.
Yeah. They were emergency evacuated from a plane
after it slid off a runway.
Slid off a runway.
Why they decided to still take off in that day with those winds, I still don't know why the airport called for that one.
Yeah, well, the tower was evacuated at that point. You didn't hear that part?
Oh, it was?
Due to high winds.
But hey, planes,
go ahead,
take off! What the fuck, man? I thought Michigan was the toughest team. I still think they are. I think they're the toughest fucking team in the country. Having to deal with that. Not to mention, they go the next that game that they ended up playing in
their practice jerseys.
They just made it to DC that morning. And played at noon. Played at noon. So, anyways, Michigan are they're my badass of the week. Bitch, go ahead, Dorf.
Dual winners here. Well, actually, trifecta here.
Okay.
ESPN/LeVar Ball. Stop enabling a mentally deranged man. I understand it's good for the ratings and short term, but for the love of Christ, everybody who takes sports slightly seriously is laughing at you. And you know what? The fact that you have your own talent who's willing to speak up and go against the company line saying this is a fucking circus, it should tell you everything you need to know. And also, Tim Tebow, dude, just stop baseballing.
Come on!
Did you see Max Scherzer mow him down today? Blew 3 straight fastballs right down the middle, right past him.
Well, he's got some learning to do.
He's going to be 29 and going to low A ball. Oh, fuck.
He's a baller. He's a playmaker. And a shot caller. In case you didn't know, I got Tebow. He shatters the mold. And all he does is win. All he does is win games. I got Tebow. He shatters the mold. And all he does is win. All he does is unleash.
Tell Tebow, let him go.
It's time.
Turn him loose.
Let him play. Let him
play. On Sunday.
Unleash.
Tell Tebow, let him go.
It's time.
Turn him loose.
Let him play.
I'm going to church Sunday.
strike out, make errors in the outfield. I think that's my game.
Hey,
I guarantee you that.
like I said, as long as teams are still willing to give him a shot, take it.
I'm not going to fault him for trying, but for the love of Christ,
Take
man,
it.
just quit while you're ahead before you're even more of a joke than you already
Okay,
are.
you're faulting him for striking out on 3 straight pitches from arguably one of the best pitchers in the game.
Not necessarily.
It's not like you got mowed down by Mike Pelfrey. Come on here. Anyways, my bitch of the week is, again, a little delayed, but I had to comment on this. We did a morning drive on it like last week or so, but it's the NBA and Adam Silver trying to tell teams.
Yeah. You're not allowed to rest players.
Yeah, when they could rest players. I can't stress the slippery slope that this is enough.
The unintended consequences of the league handing that verdict down from on high.
Yeah, seriously,
unbearable.
Dorf, what kind of Pandora's box does this potentially open up with the league trying to tell teams,
without even getting into like the legal aspect
yes,
of it,
of
but
when they could rest players?
it turns it into we're not about winning championships. It's about the dog and pony show.
Yeah.
Fuck winning. And one of the I forget who it was, but somebody on ESPN had the audacity to say, has the league gotten their focus out of whack from winning championships? Instead of that being the focus, is it now just all about? Should it all be about just entertaining the fans? No. Your ultimate goal should be win championships. And if I, as an organization, decide that the best way I can compete long term for a championship this season is to rest somebody for a fucking second leg of a back-to-back while we're changing cities, so fucking be it. Tough titties.
And now they want ownership to get involved, and they
Owners
want
need to stay out of the fucking
and they want you
business.
and they want you to disclose information like this to other teams.
Yes, competitive advantage. You know what? We're resting LeBron today because you know what? His left quad is quite sore. He has a nice deep bruise there. And you know what? The way we think the best way to pursue forward is him to give him a day off. Guess who's getting punched in the right quad the next week straight? LeBron James in this scenario.
That's a perfect example.
And guess what? This isn't quite to the level of the NFL where you have to disclose exactly what injuries are for betting sake, for betting purposes. But guess what's going to start not being disclosed? Injuries.
But you know what though? That's another.
You're going to see guys playing with, or not. Why is he not playing?
Well, it's another example, Dorf, of just how sports doesn't care about players, especially in
all about the fans.
Especially in NFL when they do.
It's not all about the fans. It's all about the advertising dollars.
When they release these injury reports, and you said it. If they didn't release injury reports, then guys wouldn't be going out there targeting specific areas on the other team's body.
Look at Bountygate.
Well, that's why
NFL.
That's why hockey's injury reports consist of lower body injury,
upper body
injury,
or head.
Yeah, that's it. It's because of aspects like that where they don't want other teams to be able to focus in on some of these injuries that these guys have.
Yeah,
and just take it from there. And hey, again, we got a little off track with that one. Bottom line, the NBA, I don't know what the hell they're thinking with this one.
I understand why, because you know what? It's pressure from the people who spend the most money with your league. Yeah,
deal with it.
And you know what? A strong commissioner who is acting in the best interest of the sport would tell him to tough tits. That's part of advertising.
You know what?
Get used to it.
Advertisers aren't going anywhere. This is one of the 4 big professional sports leagues in the United States. We're not talking about the National Lacrosse League here. We're not talking about the Arena Football League. This is the NBA.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, they're not, and I'm not saying you disagree, Dorf. They're not going anywhere. If somebody wants to roll that argument in here that they're just doing it to appease the advertisers, you said it, Dorf. If there was a strong, convicted commissioner, and I used to like Adam Silver when he took over for.
You know what? All things considered, I don't think he's bad.
He's not
Roger Goodell.
No, he's not Roger Goodell. Who was the David? He's not David Stern.
David Stern wasn't bad either.
Nah, David Stern turned into a huge fucking tool bag, especially the way that CP3 Lakers trade
declining that trade.
Yeah, that
trade.
But what are you doing, Adam Silver? What are you doing? This has bad idea written all over it. Anyways, Dorf, let's look into our crystal ball a little bit here. Oh, great. Lions GM Bob Quinn says that Adrian Peterson still has a lot left in the tank. Great.
Oh, whatever.
Look into our crystal ball real quick. We have the Final Four set. We have South Carolina, Gonzaga, Oregon, and North Carolina. We have a 1, a 3, a 1, and a 7.
Okay.
In the Final Four here. And I don't know. Who do you think is going to come? I have, as far as my Final Four goes, I have 1 left.
I have 1.
North Carolina.
Oregon.
You picked Oregon to go?
I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
No, wait. No, I didn't.
You were ragging on Oregon.
Fine. I don't remember what I picked. I have zero interest in as two.
You had UCLA. I know that.
I did have UCLA. I had Kansas. I had UCLA and Arizona.
You had Arizona winning it all. Did you
Yeah.
have Duke coming out of the East?
I did.
Okay.
So I didn't have Oregon. Sorry.
Anyways, though, I think that this is a kind of.
I should probably look into that.
This is kind of a sleeper here, though. South Carolina had a run. I think Gonzaga is
Very fortunate to be around still.
complete and utter shit. I am sorry. Oregon and then North Carolina. I had North Carolina going to the final, but losing to Villanova. Whoops. I don't know. Who do you think is going to come out on top between these two sides of the bracket here? Look into your crystal ball.
Best team left by talent alone, regardless of circumstances, North Carolina. Oregon, I think, has like the best player remaining in Dylan Brooks.
Okay.
And I think that what's wins out here. I think Oregon's going to get it done.
You think Oregon takes the whole tournament?
Oregon's going to take the whole thing. Whoever comes out of the left side of the bracket there, that being, South Carolina or Gonzaga, is going to get smoked in the championship game.
I think North Carolina takes it. I think they're the most complete team left in the tournament. And I picked them to go to the championship game anyway. I'm not going to go ahead and change that now. The only thing I'll change is them winning the entire thing since I can't take Villanova anymore. I like what South Carolina has done. Obviously, their run has been quite the thing to see. I think Gonzaga has been very fortunate. The thing with Gonzaga is they've been fortunate since the beginning of the season. For some reason, Gonzaga still gets the love that they do, despite playing in a shit conference out west. They get placed in a shit bracket where they had to go through the likes of South Dakota State. They had to go through Northwestern, who Northwestern put on a nice showing. But again, Northwestern is Northwestern still. West Virginia, that has probably been their signature win. A 1 and a 4. West
Virginia is a good team.
That has been their signature win of the tournament, and they won that game 61-58. Then they played Xavier in the Elite Eight, who they annihilated, a 1 and 11. That's something that they probably should do.
Xavier had a couple upsets up to that point, though.
Yeah, Xavier beat Florida State, and they beat Arizona too, 73-71. And I wouldn't call really beating Maryland an upset, considering Maryland sucked. But yeah, that's it. North Carolina ran through Texas Southern, Arkansas, Butler, Kentucky, and then on their way to the Final Four. So I'm going to go ahead and pick North Carolina to win the entirety of it. And you know what? I'm going to go with South Carolina to beat Gonzaga just because I hate Gonzaga that much.
Wow. What did they ever do to you?
They suck. That's what they've done. That's what they've done. Sorry, excuse me. All right. Looking at my crystal ball. Sorry, I don't like Gonzaga.
And I just pulled up our work bracket.
Yeah.
You know the fact that the 3 ladies who don't watch sports are the top 3.
Oh, great.
The 2 that don't sports at all, and the one that's usually competitive because she takes emotion out and actually does research is winning again.
Anyways, that ruined my night.
Sorry, buddy.
Not the fact that they're winning, but I am losing.
You're not in last. Our boss is in last by a lot.
Yeah, those are the breaks though. When you picking this thing is dumb.
Yeah,
It's dumb.
This
It's
year was
dumb.
bad.
It's dumb. It's usually dumb every year.
You know, there's like, I think, what was it, like 9 brackets on CBS that had the Final Four correct? Nobody's got all of it. 9 brackets had the Final Four correct.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
9 out of like 90 some odd thousand that they had.
Well, Dorf, stupid shit of the week is the Oakland Raiders moving to Las Vegas. And this was brought to our attention. This is a tweet brought to our attention by former TMSNX contributor Michael Cullen, who tweeted at us saying that the NFL is more concerned with short-term profiting rather than long-term success in a move like what we're seeing with Las Vegas. Now, let's keep in mind here that for the most part, Las Vegas, and they're going, all of a sudden now in Las Vegas, we see the price of the stadium go down like what, like $200 million or
Plus
something?
an additional $200 million available in public funding. So effectively, the Raiders would have had to pay $400 million less.
Okay. So we've got that on the table, and we've got the fact that Las Vegas in and of itself is a tourist destination, right?
Correct.
Not a lot of natives in downtown Paradise, I think is what it's called. Right?
Paradise is okay. What we think is Las Vegas is technically Paradise,
yes.
Nevada.
I just wanted to get technical with it.
There's actually a very good YouTube video out there by a fellow named CGP Gray that actually explains all that. But yes, what we think is Las Vegas, the Strip is in Paradise.
And Las Vegas, the city is
Essentially because the gangs who ran the casinos made their own town so they didn't have to pay taxes
Hey,
to Las
smart.
Vegas.
Smart.
Yep.
But I don't know. Dorf, do you think this is true? Do you think that the stupid shit this week is the NFL bypassing any thought of having long-term success in one location, building a credible fan base there for the short-term profit?
And the thing is, they're
of-
not really profiting short term because they're not moving for 2 years. They're going to play the 2017-18 season, the 2018-19 season in Oakland.
And you see that's dumb. That's dumb, and I'll tell you why. Because what is that doing for the fans? What is it?
You're not good enough to have this long term, but here, show up for the next 2 years.
Yeah. What is that? What is it? If I'm a
Buy
fan,
gear,
if I'm
cheer
not-
for this team.
if I'm a fan, I'm not showing. Are you showing up for that?
Yeah, that's not just a kick in the balls. You rip my balls out and you're now feeding them to me as an entree.
Yeah, that's such an insulting stance taken by the NFL.
And by the way, did you see the other angle at this?
What is it?
Jerry Jones's company, a Jerry Jones held property called Legends, according to San Francisco, I think he's with the San Francisco Times, Tim Kawakami, really good sports writer, that Jerry Jones, the Shadow Commissioner, as Deadspin calls him,
The right.
yeah, is going to land a naming rights deal with the new stadium in Los Angeles. And his company, as a result, would likely become more valuable than every franchise in the NFL by itself. Not combined, but it would be more it's going to be more valuable than the most valuable franchise in the NFL as a result of these moves. So Jerry Jones strong-armed the rest of the league, and Stephen Ross, rightfully, was the only dissenting owner when it came to a vote. Stephen Ross of the Dolphins. Jerry Jones is using the rest of the NFL to personally enrich himself.
Which we were talking about this earlier, and I see it now. Good work, Stephen Ross. I'm not sure that
may not be his motivation,
yes,
but you know what?
But thank
We
you.
can at least give you credit for it.
Because the NFL, the last 3 relocations have been complete and utter garbage. I'm sorry, you know what? I will give them half of the Rams move, because if you want to try again to put another team in Los Angeles and see if you can make it work this time around, I understand. Los Angeles is a huge market. If there's something else you want to try with that, then go ahead. Try it. Try it with the Rams, see what happens. If it doesn't work 10 years from now, then you know what? It doesn't work 10 years from now, then you move them again. The NFL has the resources to do that, and there's going to be other cities willing to take on an NFL team. But putting a second NFL team in Los Angeles,
Dum 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 dum.
that's what you're going to do. And then you're going to move a team from Oakland to Las Vegas, a team that's never supported any pro sports team. You know what you do? You know what you do with that? You let hockey take the lead on that one.
Yeah, let hockey test the waters for you.
Yeah, and if you get some semblance of any type of success with hockey with the NHL there, then you know what? If the NHL can make it there or generate any success, okay, then you know what? It's probably safe to move an NFL franchise there. Other than that, you know what? I don't have any part of Las Vegas. None. Until I see a case study, an actual case study of a professional sports team working out there. And I'm not talking about a minor league team. I'm talking about one of the 4 major leagues dipping their toe in the water there.
Yeah. Let somebody else make that jump for you.
Anyways, Dorf, do you have anything else to add with that?
Not on this topic, sir.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move along to, anyways, question of the night. Who draws you in more, McGregor or Mayweather?
Conor McGregor. Mostly because I can't stand to watch traditional boxing. MMA is at least somewhat exciting for me. I'm not a fight sports guy at all. I'm never probably will buy a pay-per-view. I'll watch UFC if it's on, like if I happen to be at Buffalo Wild Wings while it's on. I'm not going there. I've accidentally gone there for a Friday night pay-per-view one time. Not planning. Totally accident, just happened to be there at the same time. And I watched it on the TVs while I was there.
Do you want to come over and watch WrestleMania this year?
No. I'm good. Thanks, buddy. Thank you for the invite. I do enjoy spending time with you. But thanks, no thanks. Ultimately he's more exciting for me, and just based on what I know about Floyd Mayweather, what I've heard about him, he wins boring. He plays the game. Let's put it that way.
He plays the game, yeah.
To win in boxing, you don't need to necessarily knock the guy out. You just need to beat him in scoring, and he does that. So can't
hit and run. Don't hate
the player, hate the game.
Yep. And because of that, I think I'm with you on Conor McGregor. I think he's a better person, not saying a whole lot.
That's not a very
Floyd Mayweather's
high standard.
Floyd Mayweather's a dirtbag. I'm not a huge fan of Conor McGregor either, but I think Conor McGregor for me is the bigger draw out of the two. I'm with you though when it comes to Floyd Mayweather and in the way that in his style. I'm not a fan of that. Again, that draws me more to Conor McGregor. Anyways, getting to the TMSN extra news tonight. As we all know, Luke May ripped the hearts out of Kentucky fans yesterday with that 0.3 second shot in the second half. After Kentucky was able to tie it up with 3-pointer with like 10 seconds left on the other side. Was there 7 seconds left?
About like 7.6, I think.
But anyways, do you want to see the highs and lows of being a Kentucky fan within 30 seconds yesterday?
I've seen this.
All right, here we go. The guy flicking off the camera.
He's doing finger guns. Sucker.
Oh man, I'm not gonna play this next one because it's quite frankly too long. It's 2:47. But Oregon's Tyler Bell and Jordan Dorsey, who you mentioned earlier, says people can't sleep on West Coast teams any longer. Do you think that they're right?
No. Play some defense and then call me.
And then we have Gonzaga too.
Play somebody and then call me.
Fair enough, man. Anyways, if you felt any sorrow or anything for or pity for Kentucky fans,
don't.
You might, don't, and you might lose that when you see them. Dorf fully supports this because he's a Michigan State fan too, by the way.
I'm not supporting this. I'm just glad we're not alone.
Yep.
Setting shit out fire.
Yep. Again, it's that's the pinnacle of what's stupid in sports. That's one of them right there. Riding when your team loses. Never understood that. Setting shit on fire when your team loses. Setting shit on fire when your team wins.
Is also stupid.
I don't understand it. And I'm glad Kentucky lost now. So it's unfortunate for some of the shit they set on fire, but I digress. Finally, do you want to hear Pac-Man after his January 3rd arrest?
Pac-Man Jones?
Yes.
Sure.
It's Pac-Man being Pac-Man.
You a bitch, nigga.
He's talking to the cops.
Bitch ass nigga. I'm telling you that. Hey, what's my charge, bro? Yo! I'm asking you right now, what's my charge? What's my charge? I want to hear it.
Disorderly conduct in the fourth degree.
What?
Misdemeanor charge.
2 misdemeanor charges.
I expect you to be out of jail in a couple hours.
Suck my dick. How about that? You understand that?
That might be a
You
drop.
bitch, bro. Nigga trying you locking niggas up just to get some charges, nigga. You a bitch ass nigga. I hope you die tomorrow. Shit wrong as fuck, man. You ain't even ask me what the fuck happened. Did you ask me what happened? No, the fuck you did, bitch. When I told you you hit me, you ain't said shit. Alright. The fuck you talking about? Hey, look.
This is awful.
So what we do about him hitting me? What'd you say about that, buddy?
First time I've heard that from
Oh, that's the first. Bitch, that's the first time you want to hear it. Come on, man, get the fuck out of here, nigga. Nigga dead ass sober. You doing that? Open the window. Why you want to open the window? Cause you know a nigga sober, nigga. You all that old fake ass shit, nigga. Nobody got time for that shit. Well, open the window so we can get it on camera. Open the fucking window. No, bitch, this window back here. Yeah, this shit lame as fuck, nigga.
Again, that guy's in the league.
And you're getting a phone call.
And I'm getting a phone call.
Which is the only reason that's on is because we were actually broadcasting live on Facebook using his phone. And for those of you listening to us live on Facebook who couldn't hear that audio there, go to themajors.net and on the most recent edition of the TMSNX News. That's where you can find all that. It's actually not the top of the page story, but you can find it fairly easy from the homepage there.
But that guy has a job. Guy like that has a job in the
Probably not anymore.
You think he's done? But that's not the first time that we've seen shit like that from
no.
Pac-Man.
I think the only reason he was able to get away with it is because he was in a city like Cincinnati where they don't care. Or the organization doesn't care either, and it's a small medium market, so.
What a punk, man. What a punk.
You didn't even ask me who I am.
Is that what he said? I thought he said you didn't ask me what I did.
Or who I am, too.
Oh, my God. I love it when they pull that card out.
Do you know who I am? It doesn't matter, dude. You just committed a misdemeanor.
2 misdemeanors.
2 misdemeanors in this case. Or you just committed a felony.
And you could get arrested for misdemeanors. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, anyways. Anything else tonight, Dorf?
Other than part of the reason, actually, we're going to tease back to Blitzcast, which will be up
later this week.
Subject to that matter was Colin Kaepernick report that he wants $9 to $10 million a year and a chance to start, fully guaranteed. It's probably the reason why he's unemployed.
Maybe. Anyways,
tune into that. We have quite a nuanced argument for about 15 minutes about that.
Yep.
I think you guys will enjoy that.
But anyways, we'll see everybody next week. right here on the Majors Live. So for Dorf, I'm Adam, Shawn in Utah. Have a good night, everybody.
See you next week.